With us today is the Toyota Hilux GR Sport, and we'll be doing a review. The Toyota Hilux is the #1 selling pickup truck in the Philippines. In fact, it's also the second best-selling model of 2022. Finally, we have one with us for review, the GR Sport version, which gets some upgrades over the standard Hilux, and we'll be seeing if this is actually worth it. Price first, the 2023 Toyota Hilux GR Sport is priced at 2,057,000 Philippine pesos. Looking at the exterior, this Hilux GRS definitely shows off its tough, rugged look, especially with its more squared-off bumper and front grille with the Toyota name spelled out. This also comes with full LED headlights and DRLs, LED fog lights, and even a red bash plate underneath. Towards the side, the GRS gets beefier wheel arches for additional ruggedness yet again, contrasting well with the clean lines. The side mirrors are blacked out, and it gets its own unique set of 18-inch blacked out alloy wheels, which in my opinion are one of the best designs in the segment. This is also shared with the Toyota Fortuner GRS. Also, the GR window visors are a dealer option. GR badges are scattered around, by the way, from the front, here on the side, and at the back. And don't worry, because the Gazoo Racing stickers on the door are actually not part. And moving towards the back, it's familiar Hilux. We do get LED taillights and reverse lights, but halogen turn signals. There is a sports fashion bar, but I'd rather have it removed for a cleaner look. And once you open the tailgate, you'll find that it is assisted, making it easy to open and close. And of course, a bed liner is already standard here. So now we're inside the Toyota Hilux GRS, and before we begin talking about the interior, let's start the vehicle first with the GR push button start right over here. There we go. So looking at the interior of this Hilux GRS, as you can see, it does look a bit old now, but at the same time, it still does look very good. So at least there is that. I must say though that the dashboard does look a bit too high, so it does give the impression that this cabin is a bit cramped, but at least we do have some good feeling materials. They're not the best, but at least they do feel solid enough. So we do have hard touch plastics all over the dashboard. Everywhere you touch on the dashboard, it's all hard touch plastic with some fake stitching over here. And then on the door panels, the same thing. We have hard touch plastics all over the door panel, fake stitching as well, and no leather at all except for the armrest on the side. It's also good to note that we do have all automatic down and up and down windows on all doors, so that's really good. Then moving here to the steering wheel, we have a very nice leather wrap steering wheel. It's nice and thick, has bolsters here, then it's also perforated. Then also we have a red on center marker and red stitching over here because this is the GRS, and of course the GR badge right here in the bottom. Then the horn, just your typical Toyota horn. Then we also have paddle shifters over here, and the steering wheel itself is tilt and telescopic, so yeah, but there isn't that much adjustment, but I do understand because this is an older generation already. So this has been out for almost 5 years, 6 years or more. And also here in the steering wheel, we have our audio controls for our instrument cluster, and our cruise control stock down here. So this particular unit does not come with adaptive cruise control yet, so no Toyota safety sense on this one, but all Hilux GRS do come with it right now. And then speaking of the instrument cluster, we do have our traditional analog gauges here. None of those fully digital that we see on the Ford Ranger or those large screens that we see on vehicles like the Nissan Navara. But at least it does look really good. The screen in the middle is a bit small, but it does show us all the information that we need and that we want. Moving here to the center, we have a larger infotainment screen right now. So we actually have an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system over here with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so that's really nice. It doesn't look the newest, it does feel a bit old. It's the same system that we see in vehicles like the Toyota Corolla Cross, but at least it is easy to use. It's very basic, it is responsive enough. There are times that there is a bit of delay, for example when swiping between menus, but it does respond well enough. Then we also have buttons on the side which are really nice, knobs, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this screen. Oh, and also I forgot, we have our 360 camera over here. So it's not the best quality, but it does work really well, and it's very clear to see even at night. And then on top of that, we have a small digital clock. So we don't really see that anymore in vehicles these days, but this car still has it. Then moving down, we have here dual zone automatic climate control with a little display and lots of buttons and knobs, which are really nice because I really appreciate having these here instead of integrating them into a screen. And then next to that, we have our 4-wheel drive selector. So it's just our usual. Then down here, we have our 12-volt power outlets, 2 of them by the way, USB port, and also we have our hill descent control button and our diff lock button, as well as our stability control off. Then below that again, we have some storage, 2 cup holders which can actually fit my big bottle. So as you can see, there we go, it fits really nicely. And then our shifter here, just our usual gated shifter from Toyota. So it does feel good, but it's not one of those electronic ones that we see in the Ford Ranger, or even just those simple straight ones, which I actually prefer. Then here, our eco and power mode button. So this really works. We'll talk about that later when we drive the vehicle. Then more storage over here. We can put here some cards, our coins, house keys, yeah, and then our traditional parking brake. So just the usual. There we go. Then here, our center armrest with a decent amount of storage underneath. It's wrapped in leather with red stitching as well, because this is the GRS. And speaking of red stitching, it's all over the seats as well, because being the GRS, we have some really nice leather ed suede combination seats with the GR badge on top as well. It looks really good. It feels really good as well. It does support you very well, and yeah, the materials feel really good here. And also, this driver seat is actually power adjustable. The passenger seat is manual. And then going back to storage, I just like to add that we do have lots of storage around the cabin other than what I already mentioned. So of course, we do have our cup holders on the dashboard, which many pickup truck owners really love, and we can actually convert that into storage as well for coins and other small items. Then also, there's the dashboard storage over here, another thing that pickup truck owners really love. So thanks to that, you're actually able to hide lots of our stuff which were actually cluttered here earlier. Then of course, our glove compartment, and yeah, that's pretty much here in front. We can now move to the back. And now we're here at the back of the Hilux GRS, and of course, we have a very typical Hilux rear seat. So it's actually a bit too straight, if I may say, and then also it's not the most comfortable, but at least we do get the same materials as in front. So we have leather and suede on the seats. We don't have the red stitching anymore and the red accents, but that's okay here on the rear seats. And also, we have here a nice center armrest with 2 cup holders. And then as for space, we do have lots of leg room. Headroom is pretty decent, so my head is almost touching the ceiling. I have about an inch or 2 of headroom left, but yeah, so it's pretty okay here, preferably for short trips. And then we also have 2 back pockets, 2 hooks here that can hold 4 kilograms according to that. And then yeah, that's pretty much it here for what we can find. But it's also good to note that this unit here doesn't have rear aircon vents. I believe the updated versions do have it already. So now we're driving the Toyota Hilux GRS, and of course, everybody knows how the Hilux performs because it's very popular. It's pretty much everywhere, and everyone knows how stiff this is and everything about it. So before that, let's talk about what's under the hood. So the GRS is powered by Toyota's 2.8-liter turbo diesel engine that produces 204 horsepower and 500 newton meters of torque paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. So this is the same engine that you can find on the Toyota Fortuner and Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. So anyway, once you do get moving, you can really feel how good this engine is. So it's not surprising why people really love it, because it gives you all the power that you need, gives you all the torque that you need when you want it. So it's very responsive. Like right now, we're gonna be merging into a highway. So let's just check if it's clear. Let's go. So it feels really good when you accelerate. It also sounds really good actually. It's not the most refined, but it does sound really nice. What's really good about this powertrain as well is how torque comes in. So the torque really comes in at around the lower end. So it's around 1,500 RPM. So it really enters really quickly, and the power feels really good. You'll never feel lacking in this truck. Honestly, it's actually a bit difficult right now to maintain the 60 km/h speed limit because it just feels like it just wants to go. And I have to say that this is probably one of the better engine options that you can get in the segment. Also, despite the vehicle feeling a bit heavier, you can really tell that the engine is able to bring all this weight together with it properly. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be running out of power. It doesn't feel like you're gonna have a hard time at all, even during steep inclines. Then let's talk about the steering, which honestly is on the heavier side. Although it is good to note that I just came from testing out the Ford Ranger XLT, which I showed you last week, and that has really light steering. Of course, you can't compare this with that because that's very new. This one is quite old already, one of the older models you can get in the segment, and of course, as expected, it is on the heavier side. It's also hydraulic power assisted steering only, not yet a fully electric power assisted steering, so it's not surprising at all. And at least, despite it being heavy, it does feel like it can give you a lot of feedback. And in addition, the vehicle also has minimal body roll, so you've probably seen those videos of the Hilux with lots of body roll. This one, for some reason, doesn't feel like it has a lot, so we're currently taking this curve at a higher speed than normal, and it does feel very composed at the same time. Also, at higher speeds in the highway, around 100 kilometers per hour, the vehicle is very stable, so it doesn't feel scary. It feels like you can actually go faster even if you shouldn't. And of course, ride quality is the biggest question that everyone asks when it comes to Toyota Hilux, or even those who already bought a Hilux. Why did you buy a Hilux? It has the stiffest ride among all pickup trucks. And in this case, in the GRS, we do have a different suspension setup. So we have a monotube shock absorbers, which is similar to what we'd find in the Ford Ranger Raptor, but not the exact same one. So that one is Fox, this one is just a regular shock absorber. So thanks to that, the ride is actually a lot improved compared to the regular Hilux. So I must say that this is comparable to a Nissan Navara. It's not quite as smooth as the Nissan Navara because it has coil springs. This still has leaf springs at the back, but it's still really well composed. And then I must say that's better than something like a Isuzu D-Max and Mazda BT50. So at least Toyota was able to do that with this one, although I must say that could be better if they can do it as well for the lower Hilux variants. Then followed by the ride quality, let's talk about NVH insulation, which could be improved definitely, but again, I wasn't expecting this to have excellent NVH compared to other models because this is fairly old again. But road noise is very well insulated, wind noise is also very well insulated, so those won't be bothering you, especially when you're driving on the highway. But what does really need to be improved is vibration, because vibrations from the engine really come into the cabin, so you can really feel everything vibrating in the steering wheel, in the armrest, the shifter. You can even hear the window at the back, the windshield at the back vibrating when you're idling, when you're waiting in traffic lights, as long as you're stopped, as long as you're idling. So it is quite bothersome to me. So vehicles like the Nissan Navara are louder, you can really tell that they're diesel, but they're also more refined. Then for fuel economy, this can do a surprising number. So I was actually surprised. In the city, I was able to achieve 11 kilometers per liter. With average traffic conditions, it was pretty good. And then on the highway, I was able to achieve as much as 17 kilometers per liter, which is pretty much on par with the rest of the segment. The Toyota Hilux GR Sport may not be the newest, it may not be the best, but it is a great example of a lifestyle truck. Many buy these trucks for this purpose: daily driving, weekend road trips, and light off-roading. And this also has all the basics and a little more. It has a lot to improve, but regardless, it still ticks all the right boxes.